Hello and welcome back to the fourth sector. We are a man down this week. Cal couldn't make it, but Joe and myself are still here. And yeah, we're going to go through all the craziness that happened this week or this weekend or today even in Barcelona, because it was definitely a little bit more interesting than I think we both thought it was going to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It looked like business as usual for Ferrari up until Q3 yesterday with Charles spinning out in his first run in Q3 and then coming back and putting himself three tenths up. And it sort of looked like nothing. So brilliant from him on the Saturday. And then we sort of thought coming into the race that even based on just the sort of long runs that they were doing in practice, that Red Bull were just going to have them on race pace, and that he'd just speed off into the distance. But that's not how the cards fell today, was it?
no, and I mean it's a tough one because I don't know if we want to kind of break down teams sort of, but it also wasn't completely down to overtaking, was it? It was just a lot of
No.
bad luck for a lot of drivers, which it made it interesting. But I know obviously we watched it together. Um, was not super exciting to me. I think the most exciting bit was watching Hamilton come back through the pack,
Yeah.
which we didn't see much of because they were too focused on kind of what was happening with the amazing battle of George Russell.
Perez,
Yeah.
Russell, and Verstappen at times as well. Yeah, a lot of battles went on today actually, and there was a fair amount of overtaking, mostly due to DRS, which Max Verstappen couldn't cash in on at every asking. So that was early worries, I think, and then by the time he ended up in front after what we're going to discuss next, yeah, by the time he got out there, he was off on his own race, and him and Perez were in their own race as well. But yeah, a bit of a nightmare for Leclerc because he managed to get away well, unlike his teammate Carlos Sainz, but he managed to get away well. And then I don't remember what lap it was that Verstappen had his spin. Well, he didn't spin; he just went off onto the
Went
gravel,
off a
didn't
little bit,
he?
yeah.
I don't know what lap that was, but there was a few cars that went off there. Was there two? Was it just the two, or was there more? It might have just been him and Signs actually, because I
I
think
think it was, yeah.
when we watched it, we were saying we won't be surprised because there were obviously hot tires. At the time, everyone was on softs as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Hot tires, hot track, and a tailwind. They said, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But yeah, Verstappen had some DRS issues, which didn't matter in the end. But Leclerc, after he put himself 12 seconds clear
He was
after
in
a
a
stop,
good place, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
12 seconds clear after a stop, his car just died. There was a power unit failure.
That
Did
was
we
pretty
find out what
gutting.
it was?
No, because I got confused with what was happening with the Mercedes, which is obviously the engine. Was it the cooling system was leaking?
Yeah, there was a
So I
leak on
thought it
the
might have been that.
water. There was a leak on the water with Ferrari, sorry, with Mercedes for the
So
yeah
that's
for the engine power unit cooling.
so that's what I thought it was, and then I realized it was actually Mercedes. I'm not sure what it was with Ferrari. I've got a feeling it was a similar thing, probably
Well, I mean, we
overheating.
heard the audio, didn't we? And it
It
just
literally
sort
just
of
cut
went
out.
zhong.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been a bit of a cakewalk for him if he got it done because I don't think Verstappen really tested him at all. I don't think he ever took him once, did he?
No, no.
So long first stint, and then his car died, which brought at the time Perez into P1, I believe, because Verstappen had hit it.
Yeah.
So that was going well. So Perez was in P1, Russell hot on his heels for almost the whole race.
And did an
Um,
incredible job of defending against Verstappen as well.
yeah. I mean, so initially, I think there was it Leclerc in front and then Russell in P2 defending Perez, or was he fighting with Perez for P2?
No,
Was
Perez was
this
ahead. Perez was ahead.
okay? Yeah. And then he was fighting off Verstappen.
Final Verstappen, then Perez pit.
Yeah,
And then he was behind. Then obviously Charles
died.
Charles died, yeah.
Yeah.
And then George was in front for a couple of laps, and then Verstappen caught up.
But
So
yeah, an interesting one for a few reasons. We've sort of discussed. Sainz also had a big spin in on lap one at turn four, where Verstappen went off the track. Carlos spun there, so nightmare for him, nightmare for Ferrari overall. Did manage to get a decent recovery into P5 though.
Yeah.
I'd say that was as good a recovery as you could
Well,
want.
it was kind of. I mean, if Cal was here, I'm sure he'd be saying it was actually P6. It was only that Hamilton was having to coast towards the
Sorry,
end.
P4, Carlos, wasn't it? P4.
Yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're right.
I was
Sorry,
looking at the standings, not the results.
Yeah.
P4.
So I think Cal would be here arguing kind of finished P5 because it was down to a technicality with Hamilton's.
But to be fair, Leclerc would have finished in front of him as well. So like you say, we could call it a net P6.
Yeah.
But some more issues with Carlos. Again, we did see Max do the same thing, so it might not have been completely his fault.
Well,
but,
it was a lot, or it seemed like a lot to do with. It seemed like a lot to do with the tailwind that was kind of crossing over, didn't it? So I'm not sure how much of it was just down to driver error and how much of it was down to.
Probably a bit both.
It's probably a little bit unavoidable, to be honest. And they just call it maybe at the worst moments, but
yeah.
Not
ideal for Carlos. I think next I wanted to go over Mercedes.
Whoa, big improvements.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rocking. For those of you that are listening, I'm rocking my Mercedes top today. I took the Ferrari one off after Carlos died. Yeah, Charles died towards the end of the race, so that was a bit of a disappointment. Normally a McLaren fan, but there's not much to celebrate at the minute. So.
You changed like the weather.
I like the tops. I love the tops.
Mm-hmm.
Love the tops, and I like Carlos. I like Charles. So Ferrari are up there for me, but obviously we've got some great British drivers for McLaren and Mercedes as well.
Mercedes, and we had it was a fantastic week. I mean, it was clear improvements, right? I know we kind of saw a little bit of that last week or the week before. I get confused my weeks now. Was it last week or the week before?
That was 2 weeks ago. We've had a week
2
off.
Weeks ago. Yeah. So we saw some improvements there. I think this week was a massive week. I thought how Hamilton made his way through the pack kind of shows where they're at.
Yeah.
Because obviously he wanted to retire, which is a little bit embarrassing.
Oh, what did he call that? Lap 4?
Something like that.
It was like lap 4 because he got taken out. They've called it a racing incident.
I think it was a racing incident. I think it's easy to kind of be like, who was the other? Was it Magnussen?
It was Magnussen that went into him on lap 1. I will say that I think Hamilton had understeer, so he didn't he didn't hit the apex, and it could have been turbulent air as well. That meant that he wasn't quite where he would have normally have been. I think as we saw that Kevin had every right to try and go for it. I think.
Yeah.
But unlucky how it fell, and I think Hamilton had a little bit of understeer.
It was a racing
he
incident
didn't.
to me.
It still hurts a bit though, doesn't it? Watching Lewis Hamilton all the way at the back in P19 with a puncture.
It's racing though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just think he's due a little bit of luck now, isn't he? Finally, he's got to be.
Yeah, but I think he's always been good. Like one of the things that makes Hamilton the driver he is he doesn't wait for luck. Like he still cracks on with it. Even today, he still went on and finished top 5. No, he didn't. He did. He finished 5th.
He's 5th. So I think it was about lap 4 when he said, "Let's save the engine." To be fair,
we both just looked at each other like this. It's just not what you say, is it?
I mean, to be fair, it's almost understandable looking at the mountain you have to climb. And they were saying there was some performance issues with the car. I think it was the front wing. There might have been a bit of an issue there. There were some performance issues. I can kind of see where he's coming from in retrospect, but obviously with hindsight now, we know that they said it at the time. Bono said, we're aiming for P8.
P8, yeah.
And he smashed that. And we saw him, I think it was when he was around P12, we said, he's blowing through the field. He could easily get, top 5. I think we said top 5, to be fair. And yeah, he did it. Almost 4th until the last lap where they were having to lift and coast. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, coasting.
Was it lift and coast? It was a lift and something.
lift and coasting, because with coasting, what you're doing essentially is you're not putting as much strain on the brakes, because essentially you're allowing yourself to just drift through the corners.
Yeah.
So yeah, coasting. But instead, what you do is you come off the accelerator a little bit earlier on before you go into the corner.
So you use engine braking as opposed to your brakes.
Well, because it's such what's it called? What do they call Barcelona?
Well, I couldn't tell you.
Well, it's more around your chassis. It's basically more towards your chassis. Anyway, there's so much kind of like error that you lose. Can't get my words out, but basically you lose speed very quickly if you come off the accelerator, or a lot quicker than on other tracks. So being able to coast, you should theoretically be able to lose enough speed to go through the corners without putting too much stress on the brakes.
Didn't look like George lifted off too much.
No,
because they told both of they did tell both of them to, didn't they? And Lewis lost a place almost immediately.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Carlos was like 3 seconds behind him, and then all of a sudden he was like right on him.
So yeah, mixed, but a brilliant comeback from Hamilton, and I don't think he would have been too unhappy. I think it's tricky when you see George on the podium for Hamilton to think that fifth is good, but
I actually think it's going to do a lot for his confidence, to be honest. That's how I think it's going to do a lot for his confidence, that he knows now the car can make its way through the pack.
Yeah. Well, flawlessly as well, wasn't it? It's just
yeah. So whether or not he can keep up with the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari, I think there's not necessarily enough data there to suggest that. But we'll see. Maybe they can crack on now and have a better car week and week. And
what is interesting, I think, is now that we've got about 3 or 4 cars this season alone that have been called the best of the rest at one race.
Yeah.
Because Mercedes was definitely the third fastest car.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, McLaren was definitely the third fastest car.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting how that's going, I think. So there is kind of the best of the rest all the time now, isn't there? Where, Red Bull are in their own league.
But it's nice, you don't necessarily know. I mean, you have an idea that Ferrari and Red Bull are going to kind of top the leaderboards, but other than that, you really do have no idea. Some weeks it can be Haas, some weeks it can be McLaren, other weeks it can be Mercedes. I mean, it's definitely not going to be Williams or Aston, but other than that.
We thought it could have been Aston, didn't we, at one point?
When?
Because they showed up with a car on Thursday and Friday.
Exactly like Red Bull's side pods. Do you know what?
And the floor. Have you seen the comparison of the floor?
Yeah. But it's how quickly Red Bull reacted, and all of the memes go around with the green Red Bull can.
So this is basically a revamp of the Racing Point's pink Mercedes, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got the green Red Bull. And yeah, the pit wall did all have their lime. I think it was lime Red Bull. Their green cans of lime Red Bull on the pit wall on Saturday, which was quite funny. I did like that.
Literally everyone had it, right? Like it was the whole, like the comms team.
It was quite funny. The FIA have said they've done nothing wrong. I think it's tricky with IP because you can't prove it was stolen. Because they've let engineers go, they've gone to Aston Martin, and they've used their sort of ideas, I guess, in a way. Yeah. So yeah, Green Red Bull wasn't putting up much of a fight. Seb finished in 11th, which isn't too bad, but we had some pretty poor runnings from a few teams to aid them in getting almost into the points there. McLaren with a bit of a dud of a weekend. I mean, Lando did quite well to finish 8th, I'd say.
Yeah.
He said he was feeling unwell before the race, and he wasn't even doing any interviews after because he was getting assessed. Alpine were doing okay. I think Ocon got 7th here, and Alonso got 9th. So double points for Alpine. Decent. Alonso wanted everyone's rear end.
He was the thing. Watching him, it's exciting to watch, but literally, if the driver in front of Alonso ever braked a little bit early or cut to the right a little bit later.
I feel like they have to know, don't they? They have to be like, by the way, Alonso's going to use DRS, come right
it's
up
Alonso
your ass.
Behind you. Yeah.
They have to say it, don't they? He's going to use DRS, come right up you, and then just at the last minute, he's going to go.
Literally the last second, yeah.
Like you say, they must be warning him, right?
Yeah.
He had a strong race though from back of the grid.
Yep, he did. I thought it was pretty solid. But again, it seems to be a similar situation to kind of the last race where wasn't very exciting. I mean, I know Barcelona is not the most exciting track on the calendar, but it was still minus the incidents that were kind of, engine or track situations. It was kind of a bit bland.
I think it was more than we expected, is all I could say about it. We got more than we expected. A couple more that I wanted to cover off before we jump into the next most exciting race of the season and give our predictions for Monaco. Ricciardo.
Is he done?
No, he's not done, is he? But
is he at the beginning of being done?
I mean,
what does the future look like for Ricciardo? Because I don't see him particularly cracking on at McLaren, and I don't see him going to a better team.
I don't see him getting a seat at a better team at the minute as it stands. Are we going to have to wait till after the summer break again for him to get his boots on? Like, is that going to be how it goes again?
Well, I don't know how long he can afford to do that for.
I don't think he'll be saying, I'll run these streets next week, will he?
No, I think I have a good idea if he's going to walk away with a win next week, and it's probably not going to be Ricciardo.
No, you'd put him lower down on the list, wouldn't you? I mean, the McLaren doesn't look great, but I think Lando's able to. I don't think he's outperforming it at the minute, but I think he's getting a good amount out of it. I think before we could have said maybe last season that he was outperforming the car.
Yeah.
Whereas this season, I wouldn't say he's necessarily outperforming it, but he's doing well.
Yeah.
8th in what is probably the 4th or 5th fastest car.
Yeah.
Is about where you expect to come when you have some other issues. So yeah, I think Lando was good. Ricciardo, I mean, coming from getting into Q3 and Lando actually getting knocked out of Q3 because of track limits, I believe, and then Mick getting into Q3. That's another one that's annoyed me, that Mick was looking good for some points, but that car is evidently not good enough to get some points at the minute.
And it's so annoying. It started the season so well.
Well, yeah, Kevin was really good, and I mean, Kevin finished second from the back with a DNF taken out of the mix.
Yeah.
So that car's obviously not got the beans at the minute. They haven't brought any upgrades yet.
No.
Could mean that we see a better car soon. I don't know.
Potentially, because we are starting to. I mean, Mercedes aside, because they brought quite a few upgrades, but I think teams generally have been a little bit slower this year, which makes sense. It's new regulations. There's obviously a lot more to test.
Well, didn't we hear that McLaren had 8 upgrades and obviously none of them worked?
Yeah.
So yeah, tricky there. I feel for Mick. I really wanted him to get some points in. And a really disappointing one for Albon. Obviously, the red hair did not work this week.
I saw Crofty had red hair though.
Yeah, and he was trying to show him, wasn't he? He was when he was in a briefing. I think Albon was in a briefing. Ted had it as well.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of them with red hair. They had Albano's, hair something. There was like a whole setup on the Friday, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
Got to love Williams for their humour, haven't you? But Latifi outperforming Albon for the first time, I think.
And
he made an overtake on Magnussen, didn't he?
We were sitting there like absolutely astounded that we actually saw Latifi overtaking another car without unlapping himself.
He was lapped twice as well.
Well, there is that. There is that.
Imagine being lapped twice in a 66 lap race. He was lapped twice, but he did overtake Kevin Magnussen. It was very near the end as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To get all the points that come with P16.
It's not last. There is that.
No,
I mean there was 2 DNFs, but it's not last.
No, it was near the back, but poor week for Haas overall, I guess.
Yeah.
Apart from both being in Q3,
which is a big achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you'd prefer points on the Sunday, obviously, but it shows there is something in the car.
Maybe the one lap pace is obviously a lot better than the race pace of that car. But yeah, there was a lot going on. I mean, we haven't got much else to talk about other than that. I don't think it was. We had one more thing that I know we needed to go over. I don't think we talked about it last week. Russia has not been replaced.
No, which I think is good. I think 22 tracks is
22 races in a season is enough. And I think we've discussed this before. They were talking about at one point the possibility, not saying that there could be or there should be, but they have the option to have up to 30 on, due to just the amount of interest and stuff. And
I don't think a weekend, would you?
No, I don't think Dominicali actually wanted it.
No,
but it was kind of one of them things that he said
we could if we wanted, if we had to, if we had to, or if we wanted to.
I think 22 is good. I think 22 is good, and that's something that we don't have to fret about too much. But yeah, Monaco next week we've got a double header.
I'll tell you who's not winning. Charles Leclerc.
You don't think?
I mean, history kind of says otherwise.
I'd say I'm going to be not devil's advocate here. I'm just going to say
he's going to do it this year.
I think he's going to do it because the track, you could drive anything around it and possibly qualify P1, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You don't need speed in Monaco. That car, I think it can do it. It can definitely get P1 in qualifying. He could definitely get pole. I think if he gets pole and the car gets around the track, he wins the race.
Yeah, but it's the getting around the track there, isn't it?
He's only DNF'd once this season.
Considering we haven't even raced at Monaco and he's DNF there this season, does not say,
that wasn't his car.
Did he crash?
That was Nicky Lauda's car.
Did he crash in a Formula One car in Monaco this year?
To break the curse.
Did he or did he not crash?
It was tactical. He's broken the curse.
Did he not crash in Monaco in this calendar year?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. Like
in Monaco.
Week. Yeah, last week. Yeah, he did. But he's got all his bad luck out the way now.
Has he? I mean, today says otherwise again.
Last year, though, could you get any more unlucky? I mean, no, it wasn't actually unlucky last year, was it?
No. No, it really wasn't.
No, it was the team being silly. But
I do want him to actually go on and win it. But I don't know. I think the momentum really is with Max now. I think he'll crack on and win again, to be honest. But I do think we are going to see another Mercedes in the podium again.
Okay. So you've got Max win. Have you got a Max pole?
No, I think Leclerc pole. Max win.
So I think Leclerc pole, Leclerc win.
Okay.
Because again, if the car gets round it,
if
he wins. That's just a fact of life now, isn't it? And if he finishes a race similar to Max, like if he finished today, he would have won. If he finishes next week, he will have won the race because he'll be on pole. That Red Bull is not suited to Monaco as much as it possibly wasn't really suited to Barcelona, but there just happened to be enough straight for them to really claw back. As we've seen quite a few times this year, actually, they're not good in the sectors where you need to be a bit more technical. But as soon as you have a big straight, they are pretty good. So I think Leclerc pole, Leclerc win. I'm hoping it. I'm willing it into existence, to be fair, because I'd say he deserves it, especially after this week.
Yeah,
real unlucky. But yeah, is there anything else you want to go over with Monaco?
Not particularly. I think it'd be good to there's not too
which
much
Mercedes gets on the podium, by the way. If you think one of them's getting on the podium, which one is it?
I do think. See, my head's telling me George.
But your heart.
I just got a feeling. I think weirdly Hamilton's going to get a lot of confidence from today.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be much more competitive in Monaco.
I could see
So
it.
I think Hamilton will get P3.
So you're going Leclerc,
I'll tell you
Verstappen,
the truth, I'm
Hamilton.
not super confident in that, but
Yeah,
I'm
you're
going to
going
go with it.
You're going Verstappen. You think Perez? Do you think Leclerc finishes the race?
Yeah. So I'm going to
You
go
think?
Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton.
Oh, be a podium and a half. I've got.
Sainz not to finish. I reckon Sainz DNF.
Oh no, don't. Because we've just come off the back of two races in a row with gravel where he's crashed out, to a race where there was no gravel and in Miami, and he finished the race, and then he didn't spin out. I don't think that whole weekend, did he?
No.
And then
I've just got a feeling.
he's
I've
got
got
to
a feeling he's
Barcelona
crashing.
where there's gravel at his home race.
and he's come off.
Yeah, he's come off. At least it wasn't a crash, and he. Yeah.
But no, I think he's going to go into the barrier. To be honest with you,
What, the swimming pool?
but just straight into the bay. It was just see the Ferrari end up in like the back of a yacht.
And Kimmy's just having a beer.
Kimmy's just there, just like yeah.
I think Leclerc, Verstappen. It's hard to put signs out of it, really, isn't it?
I thought you were going to say Perez.
Either of them I wouldn't be too surprised about.
Would you be surprised with Hamilton?
Well, you're sort of, if Hamilton's on the podium at this point, you're kind of expecting someone to have gone off or not started. I think, at least.
See, but Monaco's one of those tracks where if he can get P3 in qualifying, which is not impossible, I think Monaco is definitely a track about experience, right, versus anything else. So I could see him getting P3 in qualifying, and I can see him holding it for the race.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think the lap comes together in that car. I think the race pace of that car is a lot better than the one lap pace, to be honest. I think the one lap pace of the Ferrari is the best, and the race pace of the Red Bull is definitely the best by obviously a landslide. But yeah, interesting, I guess. Might not be. We might do another short episode next week.
I think we should.
If Cal's here, we might have some more stuff to talk about, and we might be able to go through team by team.
Cal's the much more technical one, isn't he? He loves going through all the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, he does know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So apologies to everyone that has to put up with us. We promise this will be the only time it ever happens.
Well, we'll beg Cal in future.
Yeah. So he's not sent me his proxy for Monaco. So I'll have to get them off him and post them.
No. So I'm going to do the prediction for Cal. I reckon he's going to have Lewis on pole, and to win the race.
Okay.
George in second, and to come second in the race.
Yeah.
And Verstappen DNF.
Is that his wild card?
That's what he's going to be praying for. I can see him. He's going to set up a shrine during the week and pray that Verstappen doesn't finish. That's what I reckon. He's going to have two Mercedes drivers, P1, P2.
But I will get his vote in, and I will post it, because I'd forgot to post last week's because our episode didn't go up till
what a prediction
Monday or Tuesday. Made. It was almost there, wasn't it? Because you both went Verstappen to do the double.
Yeah.
I reckon Leclerc was going to get pole, which he did, and then Perez was going to win, which he should have. We didn't actually touch on that yet. Perez was stolen that win away from him, to be fair, wasn't he?
I mean, yes and no. I think actually, yeah, it kind of was.
Because he was on a one stop.
Talk about it this evening. It's fine.
Because he was on a one stop, right?
Yeah. Which was ballsy as hell to even attempt that. Considering
he would have had to take his mediums, another 39 laps or so at the time?
Yep.
It was a long way. I think it was lap 27 or something when he came in. It was late on. And they were just going to chuck a set of mediums on and let him go to the end, which, to be fair, with him, I think he could have done. But they pulled him in to cover off Russell.
Yeah.
Sort of understandable. But then he was still in front, wasn't he?
Yes. They let Verstappen through.
I don't think they had to. They were going to get a 1-2 either way.
Verstappen was quick, though.
Yeah, he was quick. He had a brand new set of softs on, didn't he?
Yeah. So,
I was almost on for a worldie for the predictions anyway.
But
it
also,
looked good.
See, I get both sides, because what you don't want as well is you don't want them racing each other. So
Well,
it's easier to just let them through.
not with all that at stake when you've now got a swing in the championship.
Yeah. So
they're leading constructors, isn't they?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Mercedes are probably still second now.
No, Mercedes not in second, Ferrari in second.
Is
Constructors,
it?
yeah.
How long ago did we look at it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Mercedes are on their tails though. So Red Bull are on 195, Ferrari are on 169, and Mercedes are on 120. So it's all to play for still. It's definitely not over. And it looks like some reliability issues sort of across the board for those top three teams could really, really affect the season, couldn't it?
Yeah.
It seems to be the only thing that could affect the season. But yeah, do you want to play Guess the Driver?
We can play Guess the Driver very, very, very quickly. Is it yours or mine this week? It's Cal's, isn't it?
Was it yours? It was yours. Was it yours last week?
It's yours.
Was it yours last week though?
No, it's Cal's. Because I got it right, didn't I?
You got it right.
So it's yours.
All right, cool. Let me have a quick poke.
Is it Nikita Mazepin?
No. All right, let's have a go. Trying to work out if I know enough about everyone. All right, cool. I'm in.
Yeah? Is it a current driver?
Yes.
Is it Sebastian Vettel?
Nope.
Are they European?
Yes.
How many have we got? Got 2 questions left, yeah?
If you want to get it in what we think we're calling the point scoring questions, yeah.
So it's European, current driver. Have they won a championship?
No.
Got 1 question left.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a guess, isn't it?
Is it Lando Norris?
No.
All right, hold on. Hasn't won a championship. You wouldn't have gone for Leclerc, surely.
Nope.
Hasn't won a championship. Mick?
Nope.
Oh, go on, who is it? Because I'm out of the points anyway.
Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, we've had Bottas before, haven't we?
No.
Oh.
I mean, it's possible, but I don't think so. I feel like I'd remember that.
Yeah.
Valtteri Bottas.
Fair. Well, I'm out of the points anyway, so I wasn't expecting to get it. We had 2. No, I got it last week. So yeah, 2
I think we went back to back as well last week and not last week, 2 weeks ago, and the week before that. Was it a double header before?
Yeah.
Where we've actually both got it, which is insane because of some of the episodes you might have listened to on our previous podcast where we would legit not even come close. So we had a big scoring run.
Hill. I didn't get it. But,
we've had a big scoring run of 2 Guess the Drivers in a row. So quite impressive.
Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this week, isn't it?
Yeah. If you haven't listened to it and you fancy taking the hardest quiz known to man, be sure to listen to our last episode because Cal tested our knowledge around the 2021 season. Spoiler alert, we did not remember much of it. But Luke came out victorious with a grand total of 9 out of 20 correct.
It was tough.
Which, as you can tell, means that I got less than 9 out of 20 correct. So that was a tricky one. But we'll be back. We'll be back next week.
Indeed.
Next week after Monaco.
But thank you all for listening. And next week, Cal will be back.
We promise.
Which we hope will make a big difference because he does have all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, thank you very much. Have a lovely week.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers, mate.